Dan Ives pounds the table. Will Zuckerberg's AI blitz leave investors thrilled or destroyed? Ives repeatedly signals we're in just the second inning of the AI revolution, leaving the question of which big tech names will survive the looming shakeout for future commentary, keeping viewers hooked for ongoing updates.
What they're getting for that AI spend, the prognostication of we're going to spend a lot of money, and it's time to spend money because we got to seize the opportunity. But they're not really giving investors a roadmap as to how they're going to reap the returns on this investment. Is Meta an outlier, or is this going to be the example that we look back on and think the whole sector is going to be held to this standard at some point?
Look, I think Meta is a bit of an outlier just because, obviously how dramatically more they're going to spend on CapEx and what happened to numbers going into next year. But in my opinion, Meta's a table pounder here, and I think below 600, because it's my view, they're transforming this business over the coming years. Zuckerberg right now, wartime CEO. I get, fretting about everything that's happening here, but this is an AI arms race. And I continue to view it as you want to see them spend because you're talking about the earnings growth over the coming years is going to be massive. That's why they're spending.
Dan, it's Karen. Thanks for being on. Thanks for wearing that outfit. It's always good to see what you're wearing. So Great. Meta, which is a big position for me, so it's been a painful week or two. The promise of what the spend is, we know that their business, that they've been able to use AI in their business, and the product that they're able to deliver to advertisers has really that's working. But the part that we don't know is the llama spend, and we do know they get some revenue sharing. Maybe you could tell me how significant that is. But that's still a big question mark. What do you think the return on this, whatever they're going to spend, $100+ billion next year? What does it need to be?
Look, I think the return ultimately is going to be multiples of what they're spending over the coming years because they're going to change their whole advertising model. You look at the monetization of 3 billion users, that's what they're focused on. And I think that is the smart move because the meta today is going to be a whole different meta over the coming years. Even when you look at the further monetization that you're going to see from the hardware perspective and software, they're building out a new ecosystem. And I think that's where, of course, the winners, the clear ones, NVIDIA, AMD, chip makers, everyone else. But you look what's happened in Microsoft here, I think that it's another table pounder under 500 because in my view, the enterprise backyard will be Redmond's. And this is one where I think the market is sort of misread or maybe nervousness in terms of what we're seeing. Dan,
you're pounding a lot of tables. In fact, the kitchen shaking or the dining room shaking. The one in your notes that I'm most interested in hearing about is maybe not surprising to people that watch is Apple, and you've come kind of 2 or 3 different visits to us from being very concerned about that moment and act fast, and you turned to being bullish last time, and now seemingly more bullish. Explain that. I'm pounding the table on the hoodie as well.
It's great to see the table pound. And part of it, but even just taking a step back, is that it's my view we're still in the second inning, maybe third inning of AI revolution, right? So that's why I continue to view these tech names where they're heading. When it goes to Apple, look, the whole thing that changed once Google won the DOJ suit, that opened what I believe the yellow brick road for Apple to go aggressive Google Gemini on the AI partnership. And I think that's really the consumer AI revolution is going to go through Apple. That's $75 to $100 per share as it all plays out. Then iPhone 17 being the surprise upgrade cycle, numbers will continue to go higher. And it goes back 6 months ago, New York City cab drivers bearish in Apple. And that continues to be the name you want to own.
When does a shakeout happen, Dan, in these names? If you look back at the internet boom, there were companies that participated in the boom and then got shaken out when things sort of rationalized. Are we going to see that moment in this boom, or is it just pound the table, pound the table, pound the table? It just doesn't seem, no, right?
No, I think you're going to see the shake. The shakeout's going to be clear because you could say AI 15 times in a conference call. It doesn't make it an AI name. It needs to be execution. Palantir will sell off, but you look at those numbers, that was a masterpiece quarter in terms of everything that they're executing on. Companies that don't execute, you see these are stocks that will be down 30, 40%. I think 2026, it's going to separate the winners. We talk about the AI winners from what could be the losers or the fakes. And I think that's the opportunity. It's a stock picker's market when it comes to AI. I think that's really the theme.